Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar titled Maximize Your Job Search, Strategies for Career Success. My name is Amy Gleason, and I am the manager for career services at the University of California, Irvine Division of Continuing Education. Every month, I offer live Zoom workshops that are career related, and then those workshops are recorded as webinars. And they are open to anyone who wants to access our website through career services. So let's get it started with some slides and some discussion about how you can maximize your job search. Before we move forward, I want to share some information with you about our Division of Continuing Education, or DCE, as we call it, for those of you who are not familiar with us. We offer over 65 certificate programs. You can choose from hundreds of classes each quarter. The training is practical and industry applicable. Classes can be taken in online and virtual formats. Instruction is university level by industry experts, and our curriculum is accredited and UC approved. And we also have a corporate training team available to come to your workplace and train your employees. So for today, there are two primary objectives for this workshop. I want to help you gain confidence in navigating today's competitive job market using strategies to be a standout candidate. And then I want you to develop a strategic job search plan using proven tools and techniques, including the importance of networking and professional development. So as we look at this slide, which is basically about your attitude toward job search, staying positive, try to think positively about your job search. The pessimist sees difficulty in every opportunity. The optimist sees opportunity in every difficulty. I recently updated this webinar, which I think I originally did during COVID, and it's been updated a couple times since, but it really made me reflect on what's happening in the world of work. It has been, I can't believe it, but it has been almost 10 years since I made my career change into career coaching. And I can't think of any time in that 10 years that I said, this is a great time to be looking for a job. Things have been difficult for several years. It is rough. Job search is really discouraging, degrading, depressing. I did a job club once where I asked everyone to say one word to describe how they feel about their job search. And it was all these D words: depressing, degrading, discouraging. And I want to try to help you today come away from this with different words like hopeful and optimistic. So that's what we're going to talk about today. We know that job search is really a challenge. It's a lot of work, but you can be successful and you can open up opportunities in your life that you never expected. So this is something that is important to think about, and that is that patience and persistence are key, and that is so true. And I've been in this position myself. I've been laid off. I've been a career changer. I have been in this job search process and felt many of the feelings that you're probably feeling. Remember that our timeline as an applicant and the hiring timeline of the employer are never the same. So this is some current information about the average time to fill a position. And SHRM is a great resource, especially if you are in our Human Resources Management program. This would be an excellent professional association to be associated with, but it's also a great place to get human resources data. And SHRM reports an average time to fill, the time it takes to make a hire after a position opens, at 42 days across industries. That varies so much. I just spoke to someone yesterday who told me they were hired within a week. That is super unusual. I've been involved in horrible interview processes that took a matter of months and numerous interviews, which is inappropriate. And many people on LinkedIn, many recruiters even agree with that, right? So the average time is completely variable, but this is sort of a benchmark. But the point of this is that we are always more eager to get things moving than the employer is capable in many cases of doing, right? There are many moving parts to the selection and hiring process. And we can get so frustrated with the length of time. So stay patient and stay persistent, stay positive. So there's our P words, okay? So here are some important statistics for you to consider. 60% of jobs are found through networking, not online job boards, emphasizing the importance of networking in a job search. 54% of employers have rejected candidates based on their social media profiles, emphasizing the importance of representing yourself appropriately online during a job search. 75% of resumes or CVs, two different things in the United States, are rejected by applicant tracking systems before they reach the hiring manager due to format, content, and lack of keywords. So when it comes to networking, I can tell you I have gotten jobs where I did not know anyone. So it's not always essential, but I completely encourage this. I have a webinar called The Power of Networking. It makes a difference. There can be 200 applications for one job. So we're going to talk about how you can be a standout candidate. But one of those ways is that if you have one person who drops your name or recommends you, it can make all the difference in the world. We're going to talk about your social media profiles and then the importance of the applicant tracking system and tailoring your resume cannot be emphasized enough. And on our CAN website, Career Advancement Network, we have tools and resources for tailoring your resume, such as JobScan. You can use ChatGPT. LinkedIn also now does that for you. But one of the most important things to know about today's job search is that each resume must be tailored to each specific position. All right, so here are 5 personal branding tips for job seekers. And branding is you. You are communicating who you are and what you have to offer. How do you do that? Number 1, make your resume stand out. Number 2, perfect your elevator pitch. Number 3, polish your social media profiles. Number 4, SEO your name. And number 5, optional, depending on your industry and what you're seeking. This is not for everyone. Consider investing in a personal website. And I do try to cite my sources. You can see that there. This is from the manifest, and we will discuss these further. So make your resume stand out. How do you do that? If there are 200 applications for one position, what makes my resume look any different? According to Glassdoor, each job post attracts an average of 250 resumes. Most HR professionals, 72%, say a resume is very important when evaluating an applicant. It's essential. Always tailor resumes to the specific position applying for. So that's the first way you make it stand out. And using specific language and examples when describing past responsibilities. Your resume needs to tell this employer that you have what they're looking for. They're not going to look at your experience and make any deductions. They're not going to assume. They're not going to say, oh, well, since they did this, they probably know how to do this. You literally need to spoon, or not literally, That's always misused. You need to spoon feed an employer by telling them exactly what you have, that you have what they're looking for in their words. Number 2 is perfect your elevator pitch. Almost all employers, 95%, consider an elevator pitch important. An elevator pitch is a brief summary of your professional and personal background, short enough to fit into the length of an elevator ride. Define what sets you apart clearly and succinctly. So when I discuss this in my workshops, I first of all ask you, have you created an elevator pitch? You can Google this, you can find information, keep it brief. It'll say 60 seconds, but think about that. Like no one stands for 60 seconds and listens to someone introduce himself that long. So how do you introduce yourself? And just like this image, what if you were on your way to an interview somewhere and you stepped into the elevator and you were only going to the 5th floor and you realize that the CEO, who's not going to be interviewing you, is in the elevator with you? How would you introduce yourself? How would you tell them what it is that you're doing now, what your strengths are, what your passions are, and what you're seeking? Think about that. Make it natural, make it conversational. This is your elevator pitch. Number 3, polish your social media profiles. Almost all employers, 98%, do background research about candidates online. Did you know that 80% of employers will Google their potential employees before inviting them in for an interview? This is why it is extremely important to keep your information up to date and free of discrepancies. And you have a reference there. Most employers, 90%, factor a job candidate's social media accounts into their hiring decisions, and 79% have rejected a candidate based on their social media content. So as a career coach, it is essential for me to make sure that I'm sharing information with you that is current, up to date, and accurate. So I follow several recruiters on LinkedIn. I work very closely with employers. For those of you who are enrolled in our GCE certificate programs or alumni of our certificate programs, you know that we have a job board, a very unique job board in continuing education for our learners and alumni. So I am constantly developing employer relationships and inviting recruiters to join our job board, listening to their information sessions, attending employer panels. This is how I learn what to share with you. And I can assure you, I ask to make sure things are still current because things change so quickly. Employers are Googling you. So ask yourself, what is it that they see when they Google me? So that's the question for you right now about social media. Is your social media helping you or hurting you? And I encourage you to Google yourself periodically. And please, I always say, please don't do it right now unless you want to put this on pause. That's fine. When I'm in a live workshop, I say, please don't do this right now while we're doing the presentation. People are very tempted to do that, very interested. You want to go into incognito mode, remember, on your computer, and be one step ahead of those recruiters. Find out what they will see when they Google you. And if you were paying attention, this was just in the previous slide. What percent of employers have rejected a candidate based on their social media presence? I always like to get people to guess when we're in a live workshop, but it is 79%. According to Manifest, 79% of employers have rejected a candidate based on their social media content, and 90% of employers factor a job candidate's social media accounts into their hiring decisions. So this goes back a way. I'm sure I could find numerous headlines like this, but back in February of 2022, this was a headline in the news. Estee Lauder fires an exec for IG post. It happens all the time. So this is one place where you can be proactive and be clear about if your social media is helping you or hurting you. Okay, number 4, SEO your name. What's that all about? To SEO your name means to optimize your online presence so that your name ranks highly in search engine results, especially on Google, especially in LinkedIn. It's reputation management or digital presence. So what is your digital presence and how are you managing your reputation on social media? So ways to do that, you can create content, blog, guest post, answer questions on Quora or Reddit. Social media, I mean, this is the one that I emphasize for you the most. Stay active on social media platforms like LinkedIn. My recorded webinar, which is on the CAN website, I also offer it as a workshop. It's called The Power of LinkedIn. It's really examining how are you using your LinkedIn profile and how are you becoming active and becoming part of the conversation on LinkedIn. Because when you do, you will rank higher in search engines, and when employers are doing searches, they are more likely to see your profile. Okay, you can get featured in directories, you can join a podcast and collaborate. You can boost your SEO by using your full name and optimizing your content. So when I see people with LinkedIn profiles that have their first name and a last initial and no photo, I think, well, that's unfortunate. You're missing out on opportunity there. You can use multimedia, upload YouTube videos, start your own podcast, or use SlideShare. Okay, but just keep posting and let Google do the rest. All right, and so I just wanted to share something. I use LinkedIn only. I think I'm such a supporter of the power of LinkedIn. I've seen it in my own career and obviously as a career coach. So I'm always interested in who is looking at my posts and what is happening. What's the activity on my own LinkedIn posts? Because I'm active on LinkedIn. So I see impressions, and I want you to look at the same thing. If you post something, what are impressions on my LinkedIn posts? Impressions indicate how many times your content appears in someone's feed, even if they just scroll past it. They may not have read it, but it came up in their feed. Impressions are an indicator of your content's reach and visibility, helping you understand how widely your message is spreading. So LinkedIn gives you analytics to help you see how effective is my branding. So I want to show you 2 posts that I did, and I had to go and scroll through and find these. It's been a while. One of them is 3 months ago, and we're going to talk about professional development, but I am a continuous learner. Learner is my #1 Clifton strength in the Strengths Finder assessment. So I'm constantly wanting to learn new things and also share new things, input. I like to also share what I learn. So I recently did a brief certificate program with Going Global. Again, if you are a DCE learner or alumni and you're on our job board, which you're eligible for, you also have access to Going Global, which is loaded with interesting resources. So I did this Culture Wizard training, and I thought I would post it. They gave me the opportunity to post it. It's nice to tell people when you are engaging in professional development. So look at the engagement I had. I mean, I'm always surprised. There were 1,274 impressions. My coworker, Megan, and 65 others reacted to it, and 35 people commented on it, and 1 person reposted it. And I can look to see who reposted it. So this is an example of the importance of becoming part of the conversation on LinkedIn and staying active, because it really increases your visibility. The other one is quite quite a while ago, but I also was so pleased to see that it had 1,459 impressions. Not as many reactions or comments, but this went by people's feeds. Whether they read it or not, I'm not sure. But this is a really fun workshop that I enjoy doing. I'm a big fan of the 5 love languages, and I do a workshop on the 5 languages of appreciation in the workplace. And so when I posted information about that, that was the result. So this is just an example of the benefit of becoming active on your social media. And this is using LinkedIn as an example. All right, number 5 of that list of 5 was invest in a personal website. And I do make a comment that your strong LinkedIn profile can achieve the same goal depending on your industry. So this is not everyone needs a personal website. You decide, do you have a portfolio that you would like to showcase? Do you have a side business? Are you an entrepreneur? Is there something that would be beneficial to you having a website? Almost half of HR professionals, 43%, use Google search to research job applicants. 80% say a personal website is important when evaluating a job candidate. So especially depending on your resume, if you're in, I mean, on your resume, in your industry, if you're in a field where creating websites would be a skill that you're using, you definitely want to showcase that you know how to create a website, right? But other reasons, right? What are the reasons that you could benefit from a website? Many are free or inexpensive for individuals to create and can also help with personal branding, SEO. All right, let's talk about targeted job search on LinkedIn. So we're talking about these strategies now to be a standout candidate. The first thing I want you to consider is, where do you want to work? Are there certain companies or organizations that you're interested in? If so, follow them. Do a search for them on LinkedIn and then click on that follow button. Visit the website and look at the employees. You see that it says 57 employees. Who are they? If I'm interested in working here, I might want to see, do I have any common connections with those employees? But follow any company that you're interested in working for. And the power of LinkedIn is in your connections. And it's not just your connections, but the people who are connected to your connections, because they can make some of those contacts for you. So the secret to gaining connections on LinkedIn is, please personalize your request to connect. Okay, when you go to request to connect with someone, and you are requesting to connect, right? It says on the right side of the screen, you see you can customize this invitation. You can add a note to personalize your invitation. No, please. Message is not optional if you want to demonstrate professionalism and get a response. Okay, so I just chose Kimberly as someone as an example, right? So depending on where you want to work or who you want to work with, or do you need to grow your connections? If you are in job search, this is the time to review all of your connections, delete those that maybe are irrelevant to you today, and make sure you're reaching out to people. Create a template message, short, brief. Hi, I am excited to report that I completed my certificate at UC Irvine. I am making a career change and I'd love to connect with you. Just create a template and start increasing your connections with people that you know. So before you do that, make sure that your LinkedIn profile is up to date, because I assure you, every time you do anything on LinkedIn, especially if you're requesting a connection, they're going to click on your profile. They want to see your profile. They want to see, where are you working right now? Where did you go to school? What kinds of things are you doing? So LinkedIn is the most important online tool for finding a job today. It is critical to keep your profile up to date. So this is a career coach quote. And a LinkedIn profile provides a much broader view of you than your resume can. It helps to answer, who are you as a person? That's why you have a photo and a headline and an about section. That's why you can add other things that might not be on your resume, like volunteer service. One tip I want to give you, and I give to everyone when I do resume reviews and LinkedIn reviews with our learners and alumni, is to customize your profile URL. So LinkedIn provides you with a default URL, which you can and should customize. Because my resume on, oh my goodness, my webinar on resumes highlights the importance of including your LinkedIn URL in the header of your resume. There's data about how effective that is, but it needs to be customized. So include your LinkedIn URL on your resume, in your email signature, or your business card if you have one. And you can see the example, which looks better and easier to read. So the first one is customized rather than the one that was assigned automatically by LinkedIn, which has a bunch of numbers and letters at the end. So you can use the help tab. LinkedIn actually has a very helpful help support tab with information, anything you need, how to write my headline, how to write my about section, how to customize my LinkedIn, or if you schedule an appointment with me, I can help you with that as well. Okay, here are some profile tips because we are talking about, again, how to stand out as a candidate in job search. We just saw how important it is. This is where employers are seeking talent. And if you're not there, you're missing opportunities. And if your profile is not current, it's not helpful. So first, remember, you can build your profile over time. It's not a one and done kind of project. You're always adding to it when you get a new certificate, when you join a professional organization, when you acquire a new language, whatever it is that you're doing, when you change jobs. Sometimes you want to update your about section or your career goal in your headline because you just got a new certificate and you're making a career change. It is fluid, just like we all are, right, in our career development. Look at the profiles of others who do what you want to do. Get a sense of how other people are presenting their brand. Use keywords in your title and profile. This is very important. Employers pay a lot of money to have their account, their recruiter account on LinkedIn, and they're using keywords to find candidates. So you want your keywords to align. Ask yourself, if I'm hiring me, what are the keywords that I might be looking for? Try to match that up. Okay. So I like to use this little term LIPI for LinkedIn Private Investigator. I really believe that most people are underutilizing their LinkedIn profiles, which is why I created a workshop called The Power of LinkedIn. These are some slides from that workshop, but if you want more detail, you can go to the CAN website and see the full webinar. But this is your chance to use your investigative skills, or in other words, how to be strategic in job search and networking on LinkedIn. So your LinkedIn profile is, I like to say, like your personal billboard. You do want to be seen. You want people to see you, but that's not the only use of LinkedIn. You want to use it to proactively seek out others and make connections. So how to be strategic in job search and networking? I mentioned this earlier. First, follow the company you are pursuing and the hiring manager or recruiter. This is before you go into an application process, okay? This is why you want to be proactive and think about, where would I love to work? What companies could I be following right now? And who are the recruiting managers? I can do a search for that. Maybe I should just follow them. I don't need to even make that connection. I can follow them so that I get their updates. Then the next step is to start responding, reacting, like posts that stand out to you. Comment and share. Become part of the conversation. LinkedIn is not this anonymous, passive process. You want to be interactive on LinkedIn. And then decide, who do you want to connect with? You can invite people to connect with you, and please remember, always include a note. Other ways to be strategic in job search and networking: you can look up the potential hiring manager. Remember that social media posts and shares are gold, right? You're becoming part of the conversation. You're increasing your visibility, SEO, but you're also bringing people to you that didn't know you before. One of the ways that you want to utilize LinkedIn when you're in job search and exploring maybe who works at the places you want to work is that it's really helpful to know more about the person hiring and what they're looking for. This can help you tailor your intro, cover letter, resume. So, are you applying somewhere where the hiring manager went to the same university you did? Point that out in your cover letter. I see we are both alumni of UC Irvine, okay? Wherever it is. Or I see that you taught English abroad, and so did I. Let's look for any kind of commonalities or just learn more about them by looking at their profile. So this is a real testimonial. It came from a student of mine some time ago, and they had a LinkedIn review with me and attended my workshop on LinkedIn, and they sent me this message. I have great news. I had a recruiter reach out to me about a position opportunity. All I did was comment on one of their company posts. Thank you so much for all of your help with my LinkedIn account. I feel more comfortable making more professional connections. I'm sending them my resume and cover letter soon. Well, as a career coach, this truly made my day. I mean, this is it. This is like fantastic. I'll tell you the truth. I've never gotten one of these testimonials since. Maybe it's happened and they just didn't tell me. This isn't going to happen commonly, but it is the power of LinkedIn, and it's true. So the reason I included the thank you piece is because it's about confidence and feeling comfortable. This information that I'm sharing with you is awkward and new for some people. I coach a lot of folks one-on-one, and I hear people say, this is not easy for me just to like try to connect with someone that I don't even know, right? Or to reconnect with someone who I haven't been in contact with in a while. Okay, so build up your confidence and know that that's what the LinkedIn platform is all about. It's about professionals connecting, and you never know what kind of outcome you can have by becoming part of the conversation. So, connecting on LinkedIn. Again, it's the power of LinkedIn through your connections and their connections, your second level connections. So step one, invite the people you may already know to connect. Start with your friends, classmates, instructors, UCI, DCE alumni. So it doesn't have to just be people you worked with. I always give the example that I have a niece who is in marketing, and we have common connections, like crazy. Like I'm like, what? How do you know this person? Your family and friends know people, right? Everyone who's in the work world is connected to other people in the work world. So don't limit yourself. Really map your network. Sit down with pen and paper and think, who are the people I've worked with, worked for? Who are my family members? Where are they working? My friends, my neighbors' friends, my parents' friends, my friends' parents. Really blast it out there and think about, who are the people I can be connecting with? Create a template email, 2 or 3 sentences, telling them why you're maybe updating your LinkedIn and that you want to connect. Very simple. But don't send a blind connection request. When you get one of those, you'll understand why. No one wants to connect with someone when they don't know why they're trying to connect with them. Step 2, find the hiring manager on LinkedIn. You can do searches under that. When you go to the company profile, you can look at the employees, and then you can start to use keywords in your search. Recruiter, hiring manager. Look to see if you share any common connections. You might be surprised. I just worked with someone this week who I suggested that they do this, and they looked it up quickly right while we were online, and they said, "Oh my gosh, my brother-in-law knows someone who lives there." I mean, my God, who works there. My brother-in-law knows someone who works there. We're like, okay, well, that's why. That's why you want to look at your connections and make sure you look at your second level. Third level connections don't really help, but your second level connections can really help. Okay, because then you can ask your connection to pass on your resume with a brief recommendation, either in by email or in person. And this is a reminder I make because I know people really like to use what I call the big fishing net job search engines, Google, Monster, Indeed. That's all good. I would start with Google. That's a good one. Monster, Indeed, they post good jobs. But if you want to target your job search, remember to use LinkedIn. LinkedIn has an excellent jobs tab for you. And you can get job alerts, you can save your jobs, you can review your applied jobs, right? It's a system that organizes anything that you did, any job search activity, job application activity through LinkedIn, and it is tailored. Those job alerts are tailored to your profile, which is again why you want to keep your profile up to date and current, but they're more tailored. So the analogy I use is in the big fishing boats, when they go out to sea and they bring in their nets, they get the big fish, but there's also a bunch of little fish that they don't want and they have to throw back. That's how the large job search engines are for me. And I've been there years ago. I used to use them for my job alerts, and I would get job alerts that were totally unrelated to what I was looking for. So try to focus your job alerts in places like LinkedIn. And here we go. This is like a little secret that I think a lot of people aren't aware of. So almost every industry has their own job search engines specific. And you can just Google it, regardless of what you're studying or where you're working. So if you're in HR, if you're in data science, these are just examples, right? You just Google job search engines, comma, contract management, job search engines, comma, paralegal or law, whatever it might be. But again, these are worth exploring because these jobs are very specific to hopefully matching what you're looking for. And you can get on their job alerts and get more tailored job postings. And don't forget your professional organizations. So hang on, I'm going to go back. I talk about professional organizations in almost maybe every workshop I do. It is really important to consider joining a professional organization related to your industry for several reasons. So I want you to consider what that might be. I have a list for our learners and alumni. If you meet with me, I can help you with that. You can ask your instructors, or again, you can Google professional organizations, um, whatever, data science. What I suggest you do is find a local chapter. Many organizations, all of them basically have national chapters, which is fine. That can be helpful. But if you are in job search and you need to network, which you do, you want opportunities to be local. You want to attend conferences that they might have. You want to participate in webinars that they're offering. You want to look at their job board because most professional organizations have their own job boards. And importantly, you want to have access to that membership. Once you're a member, you can now get into different discussion groups and contact other members. So it's essential after joining to make sure you include this on your resume and your LinkedIn profile. It lets employers know this person is invested in their professional development. They're staying up on trends. They are aware of what's happening in the field. So LinkedIn even has a separate heading for professional associations or organizations. It's something that should definitely be showcased on your resume. And my other tip of the day is that if you are an enrolled learner, as a student, join now, because student memberships are often much cheaper than what a so-called professional membership, but it's an investment worth making. Okay, and when we talk about networking and how am I going to make a connection, what if I don't know anyone in the field? Well, you're going to use your LIPI. You're going to seek out maybe alumni of your university, because alumni are likely to help other alumni. You can even do a cold search. I have contacted people, total strangers on LinkedIn that we had nothing in common, and I crafted my message in a way that was clear about, I have an interest in working with your organization. I'd love to know what your experience is, and if you would recommend it, would you be willing to meet with me for an informational interview? So informational interviews are a way to learn about a company or a career. It's a meeting to learn about the real life experience of someone working in a field or company that interests you. And it's not a job interview. So it's important to keep focused on getting information, not a job offer. It is a way to gather information, but it's also a networking strategy, because you're meeting with someone inside the organization who now has your name and who is learning about you. So just remember, you don't want to request this when you're in an application process, right? No conflicts of interest. These are proactive steps you take. You can reach out. Let's say you want to work for Johnson & Johnson, and you go to their LinkedIn profile page. You see there's thousands of employees. You're going to do a search for an employee that has the title that you want to have at that company, and you can reach out to them, right? I see that you are a marketing manager with Johnson & Johnson. I am also a marketing manager, very interested in Johnson & Johnson. I'd love to learn more about the company. Would you be willing to meet with me for an informational interview? You'd be surprised by how many people say yes. And if they say no, no big deal. No worries. Just move on. Don't take it personally. People are busy. Some people are, more open to it than others. But it's a very common practice. Like, someone won't think, well, that's a weird request. Informational interviews, the term is well known, and the request is very common. If you attended a university that has a mentoring platform for alumni, UC Irvine has AntNet, the Anteater Network. Many universities today have mentoring platforms for their alumni. You can find that on their alumni relations or alumni association websites. They will have mentoring platforms that you can get connected with and reach out to alumni there. So think about ways that you can be making connections, and I encourage you to think of at least one person that you can request an informational interview with. You can also Google this for more detail. With our learners and alumni, I share a guide that's complete with questions that you can ask and things like that. You can Google this to get more information about how to conduct an informational interview. Okay, other networking tips. So I mentioned earlier, map your personal and professional network, then tell people. Tell people what you are looking for. Okay? People want to help you find a job, but they can't help you if they don't know you're looking and they don't know specifically what you're looking for. Be very specific. Name the position, name the skill set that you are seeking to utilize. Use social media to announce your job search. LinkedIn, again, on your profile photo, there is a banner that says seeking work, open to work, open to work. A recruiter might use that filter. I'm going to look for people who have the open to work filter. Okay. So you want to let people know. You don't need to be ashamed. There's a lot of people in job search these days. You want people to know so they can be thinking of you and making connections. Include your personalized LinkedIn URL on your resume, your business card, if you still have one, and your social media pages. After you make your connections, stay in contact with your connections. You can send holiday cards, you can check in with a quick note. LinkedIn makes it so easy to stay in contact with people. So I've met with several people when I say, okay, well, do you know anyone that works there that you could reach out to? And they say, well, yeah, but we haven't talked in like 3 years. I'm like, okay, you can figure out a way to manage that conversation, but the better way in the future is to really just try to keep in touch with the contacts that you feel will be useful to you and that you can help. Networking is a two-way process. It's not all about, well, who can help me? You are always in a position to be helping others as well. Maybe your company is hiring. Maybe you know of someone who's looking for employees, right? And you're thinking, oh, hey, I know I've got a former colleague who's looking for a job. I'm going to let them know. That's networking. And your key networking question is, who do you know who? Networking happens anywhere, anytime. And I wish I could take time to tell you some of the craziest stories I've heard, including someone landing a job at a funeral. And that is the truth, a family funeral. So remember that even in social situations, you have the opportunity to share what it is you're doing and what you're seeking. Be prepared with your elevator pitch. So professional development is another aspect of how to stand out. So I talked about the professional association membership. Are you aware of LinkedIn Learning and the certificates that you can earn through your LinkedIn profile? Who does it benefit? Basically, anyone who needs to boost their resume and get the attention of a hiring manager. Why? Because employers want to hire and promote people who are proactive about improving and learning, people who are motivated and want to succeed. We are all lifelong learners. It does not matter how long we've been doing the work we've been doing. It doesn't matter how many degrees we have. The world is changing constantly. Technology is changing constantly. There is always more to learn, and we want to showcase that. And you can do that through LinkedIn Learning. When you do complete a certificate, which they're very brief, these are not like weeks long or days long, they're hours long. After you do that, you can showcase it on your profile. So these are examples on my profile. If we're connected, you can see them there. But when you complete that, there's a place on your LinkedIn profile that says certifications. And you can include, of course, your UC Irvine certifications or certificates. But I just want to give you an example of the kinds of trainings they have. There are literally hundreds. I mean, in this slide on the right side, it says pick the skills that interest you. There are hundreds of topics and skills that you can choose from. And you can see mine here. These are my more recent ones. I have another one in mind I want to do with Toastmasters. Toastmasters is offering a certificate now on public speaking, and I want to take that one next. But I snuck in at the very bottom of the screen, delivering an authentic elevator pitch. Okay, so you can even get training on LinkedIn Learning about your elevator pitch. So I encourage you to do that and then post it. Let people see that you're a lifelong learner and that you're continually growing. And my motto as a career coach across many different aspects of your career development is feathers up. I want you to be feathers up when you're in job search. This helps you stand out. So you see the peacock on the left looks great. Most days we make effort to look okay. We're doing our best. But when you're in job search, you need to really bring your best self forward. Make that effort to brand yourself, to take the energy and the time to use your social media and your networking, and be prepared to talk about your strengths. That's a component of being feathers up. Can you identify 3 things that make you unique as a candidate? If you can't talk about what makes you stand out, no one else will know what makes you stand out. So practice that. Think about your transferable skills. Think about the feedback you've received from others about your strengths and what you've contributed in your workplaces. And I wish you much success, and feel free to watch our webinars on the CAN website, and maybe I will meet you in a live workshop. All right, everyone, and the URL for our website is at the bottom of the screen.